Almost halfway done with April, man. Happy close to WrestleMania weekend. Hopefully you guys had a fun sports weekend. Plenty of NBA, golf, and baseball. It was a lot of fun to sweat and watch all these different sports, giving us offerings at different times of day. There was even some UFC, some MMA. I don't know. But yeah, hopefully you guys had a good weekend and you're ready to move onward and forward and win a bunch of money this week. There's still plenty of sports going forward. We are double dipping NBA and MLB on the daily. And hopefully tonight's MLB slate will be a little bit more pitcher friendly than yesterday was. Yesterday was an absolute nightmare. Every pitcher pre-flop was bad, and pitching was what we thought it was. It ended up being an offense slate. So hopefully tonight we get a couple more solid options at the top of our lineups. But nonetheless, it was a good slate for me yesterday. Hopefully you guys made it out alive. Here, what up, Tony? Here, what up, Dave? Here, what up, dang lazy mofo? Happy Monday. Hope you guys are having a good day thus far. We've got a full day of restarts to do. We got baseball now. We got basketball on deck. Should be a 3 p.m. Eastern stream there, 2 p.m. Central. So we're going to try and navigate game by game here for today's MLB offering. And to assist us, I'm going to be using the RunDFS.com MLB VIP spreadsheet. This is a spreadsheet that has taken years to cultivate and write codes and algorithms, and hopefully you guys will appreciate how it expedites the work for us. And if you guys want access to it, it is a premium perk of having a subscription at RunDFS.com. That's the place where we don't just play DFS, we run DFS. Sign up, go to RunDFS.com, make yourself an account, go to VIP passes, several different offerings available, week passes, 2 week passes, month passes, the rest of the All-Star to All-Star pass, so like until the MLB All-Star break, and then the full season until October. I think this is a really good deal because that's going to get you into October, which will get you the first month of football. And right now the month passes are actually supposed to be $100 instead of $80, but since lately I haven't been able to guarantee pre-lock voice chats every day. I think I've been making them, but I haven't been able to guarantee them, you know what I'm saying? So yeah, go check that out. Go to RunDFS.com. And when you do sign up, you'll get access to the VIP threads form. Click the onboarding thread. There's going to be an NBA spreadsheet. There's going to be a baseball spreadsheet. And perhaps the most lucrative, valuable part of the subscription, a Discord link that'll get you into the RunDFS.com VIP Discord, where we have people grinding at all different hours, at all different bankrolls, all over the world, literally, and all different bankroll levels, and I mean that. Our poster boy right now, always be placing at the top, yesterday took down his second Millie maker in 5 months. Guys, people will play their whole lives and not win one Millie maker. My man's won 2 in 5 months. Won NFL in December, I think it was December 6th. Won that NFL Millie maker, and then yesterday in golf, won the Millie maker, or a Millie maker for golf, finishing first, second, and fifth, and a whole bunch of others in the top 500. Big day for him, so shout out to him. But I guarantee you, if you go into the Discord and interact with him, you would have no idea that that's his bank account, right? He is out there talking to Slate with us, picking ideas, bouncing ideas, asking for people's perspective. So, but we also have people in there grinding the quarter arcades and single entries and stuff like that. So I literally mean it. I think we built such a diverse community, and it just gels. It's just beautiful. No one's better than the other, and we just like to see each other's success, man. What up, Tone Loke? Happy Monday here. Congrats to always be placing. Yeah, ABP has been an OG. So many O's before the G. Orioles hosting the Mariners, man. We got a lot of baseball tonight, so I'm going to try and keep it short and simple. Is there any chance I can get this done in an hour? We will find out. We got Dean Creamer up against former Yankee great Justice Sheffield. A implied run total for the Mariners at 4.2, up against the Orioles at 4.4. Mariners stealing one from the Twins in the last couple days. Taking some momentum out there to Camden. Light rain potential here, so keep an eye on that. Although I don't believe anyone's going to be interested in rostering these pitchers, so I'd imagine that the game could play even through some wetness. But I'm not a meteorologist, so make sure you guys keep your ear on the ground for that. In the temp side of things, looks like it's going to be around 50 degrees. So, baseball weather, but 2 bad teams, 2 bad pitchers. I do think Creamer's a little bit better than just being an Oriole suggests, but nonetheless, I'm probably just looking at these offenses here, and I don't want to get too overzealous with putting my name on 1 or 2 guys. Mitch Haniger, probably their best MLB player. Ty France showing some pop. We've seen Taylor Trammell with a couple of bombs in the last couple of days, and Kyle Seager, red hot. He's hit a couple bombs in his last at bats. I think he had 2 bombs yesterday with a not a walk off, but basically a walk off of Alex Colome. 2 bombs. Yeah, 2 bombs yesterday. So they have some options, right? It's not a couple of names to click, but I don't see any reason why I would say, nah, you can't touch the Mariners today. Creamer's going to bring a fastball, cutter, curveball, changeup. I think if you weren't worried about the weather, I could understand both sides of this fence. You could play some Creamer just based on a maybe an SP2 dart, but I on FanDuel, I probably don't get the Creamer, but on DraftKings, I can see him putting him in the SP2 slot, see what happens. Justice Sheffield, more of a contact lefty here. I want to pick on him with some power righties. I think Trey Mancini leads the pack for me. He's another guy that got a homer, I think, yesterday. And then Anthony Santander, Ryan Mountcastle, and Michael Franco, all options for me. Even Pedro Severino, if I need a catcher on DK, if he's in the lineup, he's 3,900 on DK. I mean, that's rough, but I understand it. 2,600 on FanDuel. I don't really think there's a couple of catchers I'll get to on FanDuel. I think Wilson Ramos is a name that comes to mind, but normally, unless I'm actually stacking the Orioles, I don't really roster a loose catcher that isn't an elite guy, like a Real Muto, maybe a Gary, maybe a Wilson Ramos, something like that. So yeah, if you want to play with both teams, go for it. It's a low implied run total. Looks like it's gonna be icky weather. We'll move on to the next game. See what you guys got. Chat, be sure to drop me some names that you're on as we go game by game. It's a little bit weirder than NBA, right? NBA, we could have some sharper takes. Baseball is really me focusing on pitchers that I want to play and then pitchers that I want to beat up on. Bats come with so much volatility and variance that unless I see something that projects extremely well, like Taylor Trammell right now, because of short sample size, has a crazy high bomb rating against Dean Creamer. But unless I see something like that, there's not really a whole lot of me stopping and focusing on one bat, right? The music's still on, is it? No, right? The intro, the bumper music, yeah. All right, let's move on to the next game. The Blue Jays and Dunedin hosting the Yankees. Blue Jays, I think they had their game with the Angels yesterday postponed. The Yankees finished out a series against the Rays in Tampa. Yankees may not even have changed hotels. Like, they might have been able to stay at the same hotel to go play the Blue Jays in Dunedin. Yankees losing a series against the Rays, but leaving on a high note with Rougned Odor coming through in the clutch with an RBI to put the Yankees on top, and then got some insurance runs there from Gary to win the final game against the Rays. Blue Jays are going to be throwing Robbie Ray up against Garrett Cole. This is a game that I definitely think Garrett Cole is going to lead a lot of lineups tonight. He's 10.7K. He's coming off his best game ever as a member of the Yankees. It did come against the Orioles, so there is some potential benefit of a less than average team, but now he's going to face a young Blue Jays team that have shown some pop, and perhaps more intimidating is this ballpark. This Blue Jays ballpark is a spring training facility that plays or has played thus far extremely hitter friendly, and Garrett Cole is somebody who has historically allowed home runs here, and it's kind of like the max effect. Last year, Garrett Cole was to start the season one of the league leaders in homers allowed. So I definitely want to play some Garrett Cole because I think he has probably the most elite stuff on the slate. But I will say, maybe if I'm getting to 100, 150 lineups, it would not be a crazy stretch for me to see a couple hedge Blue Jays stacks, just because Garrett Cole can leave a couple up and allow some power here. Matchup wise, Robbie Ray is a left-handed pitcher that has struggled with power to righties for years, going back to his days in Arizona. Not much has changed. Last year, got to 47 innings pitched, still had problems with righties in terms of power. I would imagine this will be one of the more elite spots bomb detector wise for Aaron Judge and Giancarlo Stanton. So those are probably two guys going to be leaning on quite a bit. And Aaron Hicks hit a home run the other day off a lefty, so perhaps his pop coming back, but maybe it's coming back from the other side of the plate. And then DJ LeMahieu got into one, and Gio Urshela hit one to dead center yesterday. So the Yankees are probably going to be one of the more popular stacks on the slate. They have an implied run total of 5.3. Blue Jays bullpen really not. Is, I would say, average. I don't think they're bad. I think they have a couple arms in that bullpen that are good and have high velo, and the Yankees have already met that bullpen to start the season. But I think Robbie Ray is definitely somebody to target here. The caveat here with Robbie Ray is he can get some strikeouts. The 25% K rate was one of his lowest K rates to righties last year. But if you expect some progression to the 30% number that we saw a couple years prior and his numbers against lefties for the last 3 years, this Yankees team has given some strikeouts. And in this lineup, I've got everyone outside of DJ LeMahieu with over a 20% K rate to lefties. And if you take out Gio Urshela, we got Clint Frazier at 29, Gary at 35, Jay Bruce at 26, Giancarlo at 35. There's a lot of strikeout propensity in this lineup. So, I definitely, it will be on the Yankee stack, but I have to at least put that asterisk there that it would not surprise me if Robbie Ray came through with a not horrible game strikeout-wise. Robbie Ray's fastball sitting around 94 miles an hour. It has been a below average graded fastball, minus 2.43 on a linear scale, with 0 being average, above 0 being positive, and of course -2 being horrendous. His changeup is projected really bad, but he didn't really throw it. And then the curveball's below average. So really, he's going to be leaning on that slider today, or unless he can get some progression on that fastball. That slider's been his best pitch, and that's really the one pitch that the Yankees grade out poorly against. So obviously you can't throw that slider every pitch, but I think this is a plus matchup for the Yankees. So give me all the Yankees, and Gary Sanchez against a lefty is also something that I'm here for. Against Garrett Cole, there's not much I want to specify and pick on specifically. I was just saying that, some power bugaboo can exist, and then in this park might get a little weird, but I'm looking at Garrett Cole to hopefully eat another 6 innings strong. Yankees bullpen has been very taxed in that Tampa Bay series with Domingo Germán and Jordan Montgomery not able to go 6, and Corey Kluber as well. So they really could use a long outing from their starter. Garrett Cole went 7 for him in that Baltimore game, 97 pitches in both of his first and second game. That first game against this Blue Jays team, just about 19, almost 20 fantasy points, 8 strikeouts. So the strikeouts were there, couple walks. You really want to, at 10.7, I would really like to sit on 25 DraftKings points at that price point. But if you get over 20, there's still a chance that you'll be in the top lineup. So Cole's going to be an interesting point of discussion today as perhaps one of the better pitching options today. But we do, I don't know if this is a ceiling game for him per se, right? What up, Tone? What up, Earth to Air? Good morning. How we doing? One-off Blue Jays. Yeah, if you're going to one-off some Blue Jays, you might just be heat checking a couple cats. Looking at the heat check radar, I don't really see any Blue Jays popping for me. I guess a guy like Vladdy would be interesting. If I'm looking at Garrett Cole's real power struggles, it's really been the lefties over the course of the last 2 years. Kevin Biggio's not somebody I'm running to play as a power for power, but I guess it could get there. And then no one else is really just screaming at me. So I think it's just really who catches that fastball where it's not supposed to be and sends it out. What's up, Solid Picks? Have I missed the Glasnow Cole discussion? I'm wrapping up the Cole discussion now. I haven't got the Glasnow. I would imagine Glasnow is going to be a little safer pre-flop, but Garrett Cole's fine. You just understand that at his price point, the matchup is tough enough, the ballpark tough enough to where I could see him not having a ceiling game. But I'm hoping that that we get one. I would love a strikeout per inning, 7 innings, and a win. I want to say you need it. I don't believe that baseball is a value-intensive sport like NBA, but if there is a position where I would like an X return on X salary, it's pitcher. Usually any position that gets any price batter that hits a homer was fine, but at pitcher, if you're over 10K, I really want no less than 20 on DK and probably flirting with 50 on FanDuel on a normal slate. And a slate this big, likely going to be some pitchers getting to that mark. Rangers at the Rays. Next game on the docket projected. Whoa, I'm not going to do that. Dane Dunning starting for the Rangers. We're not going to list out entire starting nines. Up against Tyler Glasnow. Tyler Glasnow 10-7, 10-4. He's right there at the Garrett Cole price. And I think if we're trying to profile the matchup and what plays as a better opportunity for upside, I think Glasnow clearly has the better spot than Garrett Cole does. Cole being in a hitter's park against a probably way more talented team than the Rangers. So I think Glasnow would be, for me, tiered over Garrett Cole. Glasnow's just been elite, pristine going into spring training. Like Garrett Cole, he does have a bugaboo for power, but it's almost reverse splitty, where Cole gives it up to lefties. That's the natural platoon disadvantage. Glasnow has shown some power to righties. Last year, a 2.67 home run per night to righties, going back to 2018, a 1.47. He's done exponentially greater to lefties at limiting baseballs leaving the park. But it plays to his advantage here because the Rangers don't bring a lot of lefties, or excuse me, a lot of righties to the table. I got Isaiah Kiner-Falefa and Nick Solak as the two projected righties. So interesting and unique spot here. I guess it's kind of like the Musgrove split. So Tyler Glasnow carried a 40% K rate to lefties last year, a 35.6% K rate the year prior. Swing and strike rate is just stupid. I would imagine he has like a disappearing changeup to lefties. Let me see. The curveball, 31% on that curveball to back up a fastball, high velocity fastball. Glasnow's probably going to be my tier 1 pitcher of the slate. We've already seen the Rangers look pretty abysmal in spots, allowing a no-hitter to Joe Musgrove. And then going into a park like this, which is going to play probably more pitcher-friendly than even a roof-closed Globe Life would play. Dane Dunning on the other side is an interesting discussion, and I want to bring up FanGraphs for this one because I don't think Dane Dunning is inherently bad. His metrics last year did suggest that like a little over 4 Sierra and a little under 4 xFIP. Like, he's not great, but at 6'6" on DK, seeing a 28% K rate to righties, 23% K rate to lefties, like, is there a puntable option in there against a Rays team that is not immune to the strikeout? Looking at Dunning's best pitches last year, fastball, slider, curveball were his stronger pitches, and his 1-2 was the fastball, slider. So I'm just going to kind of reference that into what he did in his outing thus far. So we'll go to pitch type using the FanGraphs player card. Actually, let me go to game log here, and then we'll go to pitch type. So in the first game, he threw that fastball 77%, slider 14%, and then was very small on the other 2 pitches. So I don't know if that's his way of working into those pitches, or felt like he didn't need to get to those pitches yet, but not a whole lot of difference there. I think I could play some Dunning in 100, 150 as an SP2, and I'd probably cap it at like 10%. If you look at this Rays lineup, Yandy Diaz, Joey Wendell, and Manuel Margot are guys with sub 20% K rate, but the rest of the lineup comes with some strikeouts. And in terms of bomb rating, like, I'm worried about Brandon Lau and Austin Meadows, but I do think you could sneak through some strikeouts in a more pitcher-friendly spot. So at 6'6", only a DraftKings play for me, with an eye on the rest of the SP2 options. I'm just thinking early on, I don't think I would unclick his name just yet. He's listed as an opener, but he did throw 70 pitches last time. So that's pretty much SP5 area pitch count if he's going to build off of that with 5 innings there. So if he can keep 70, maybe get up to 80, 85, I don't hate early on, I don't hate that being in my back pocket as an SP2. He will be likely facing a lefty-heavy Rays lineup, and we do have to eat this xFIP and average and home run allowed to lefty. So would not be a warm and fuzzy click, just kind of a small capped 100, 150 lineup guy as an SP2. And if I want to pick on him, definitely want to look at Austin Meadows. He has an over 4 number on the bomb detector. If we pull up that bomb detector, kind of show you that in context, the way the bomb detector algorithm is coded is anything at around 4 or greater is like a perfect 10 in terms of what I want to see in homers, or what I want to see to project homers. And what the algorithm is doing is considering fly balls, pull rates, hard contact for both the hitter and pitcher, and it's giving me back a solid number. And I have a bunch of players at 4 or greater today, but a couple of those players are Tampa Bay Rays. I got Brandon Lau and Austin Meadows. And Austin Meadows, I think he's already got him 1 or 2. He definitely had 1 in the Yankee series. Let me check out how he started the season. Austin Meadows has 3 in the last 2 weeks. He's 8 for 37 so far. Not a high batting average on that, but the power has been there. So those would be a couple names for me if I want to pick on Dane Dunning. And so far, the Rangers bullpen has not looked particularly great. So you might get some strong 9 innings of opportunity for a couple of these bats here. The Rays will play platoon heavy as they get into the lineup. We saw yesterday if the Rangers end up going to like a lefty out of the pen, Sasugo might turn into Mike Verso, and they have several different adjustments that they could make. But I think Austin Meadows, Brandon Lau, Randy Arozarena, those guys are probably going to play the full 9 here. Implied run total for the Rays right now, 4.5. The Texas Rangers, 3.1. So, yeah, if we're taking notes, I think we put Tyler Glasnow at the top of the list. What up, Bryce Ear from sunny South Texas? Shout out to you. I'm in I think sunny Central Texas. I'm in the Waco area. What up, Casey? Is Wade Miley a steal at 7K? And how do you feel about paying all the way up for pitchers? So pitching is a priority for me. Like I want the safe guys with strong strikeout potential and then strong run prevention metrics, like stuff that you know what I'm saying, like stuff that I can aim for a quality start, aim for a strikeout per inning, if not greater. Those are the guys I want. Wade Miley's not really that household name for me yet in terms of guys I put in that category, but as like a 7K area guy that could make me satisfied at that price point, maybe we can get there. I do like he's playing against the Giants, right? The Giants have been one of my Cinderella stacks against left-handed pitching. So, like, I don't think I'm going to be overly excited about playing Wade Miley, but, like, I understand how you're there. But, I again, the credence on the price point, not really something that I overrate or underrate. Like, if this slate came to me today and we had, 20 pitchers and I had 2 or 3 pitchers at 10K, and those are the only pitchers that I thought could break 20. Those are still probably the pitchers I'm going to play. But I don't think you're crazy for pitching Miley. I'm gonna chop that game up a little bit stronger and just a little bit. Is Dunning an opener, and who comes in after? So he's listed as a PO, but those are borderline SP pitch counts. Have fun. I love you. I guess, do they have somebody projected as the long reliever behind him? Taylor Hearn? How does that work? Like, looking at pitch counts here, it looks like Hearn should be the opener and vice versa. Hearn's a lefty, so that would immediately play to the platoon switches that I talked about. If they do go with Dunning first and then in the 5th or 6th inning hand the ball over to Taylor Hearn, yeah, you probably see a Mike Verso entered into that lineup, and maybe Sasugo gets sit down, All right, let's move on to the next game here. Mets hosting the Phillies. Mets part of a controversial couple minutes of baseball yesterday. Phillies as well, actually. If you closed out last night's game, Alec Boehm with a questionable go-ahead run, which there's a lot of Twitter heads talking on that one. I understand the review. I don't understand the call in the field, but who am I? If you didn't see the play, essentially Boehm did not touch home plate, but he was ruled safe. And then when they reviewed it, they stood with the call. In my mind, the reason why I think that could have held up like that is if you come home as a runner and you think you scored and you look up and the ump calls you safe, like if he didn't make a call, Alec Boehm would have still had the opportunity to touch base because the catcher wasn't committed to the tag. And if the ump is telling you you're safe, then you're safe and you don't make that play. So I think it's definitely 100% on the ump. It should be on Alec Boehm, but yeah, tough end of that game. Braves and Phillies was pretty entertaining. And then the Mets, if you guys missed that, the Mets clearly were going to be impacted by rain yesterday, and instead of trying to wait it out or make a educated call, they decided to start that game, and Marcus Stroman got a couple of pitches in, and then the rain shut the game down, and they suspended the game. So in all likelihood, they wasted a Marcus Stroman start for, I don't even know how many pitches he threw. I think he might have thrown 7 pitches. And Mets are going to Mets, man. 2021 Mets are still Mets. And This game does have some potential weather concerns to be cognitive of. Again, I'm more here for the analysis, but I would, if you're taking notes, maybe write down Mets weather and keep an eye on weather reports that float around later. Kevin Roth is somebody that maybe you should look at. Temps in the high 40s, and then of course high precipitation concerns. Because of the weather concerns, I'm probably not going to be looking at either pitcher. Not that they had much for me to consider anyway, but if it did play maybe some sloppy wet baseball. Implied run total for the Phillies at 4, Mets at 4.6. David Peterson is a lefty, through 42 innings last year. Was a contact guy to righties, just an 18% K rate to righties with a 1.3 home run per 9 and a walk problem. Didn't allow a ton of hard contact to either side of the plate. However, definitely not somebody that looks like he has the metrics that I'm going to run from. If I'm going to pick on him with some power, Rhys Hoskins, JT Realmuto, definitely two guys at the top of the list for me. And then Andrew McCutchen, he showed some pop yesterday, right? So maybe those are a couple names I jot down. Chase Anderson has held an xFIP at over 4.5 for as long as the eye can see. Last year, he got the xFIP to righties down to 4.24. However, just 29 innings of sample size, so I can't really overrate and overweight that. Nonetheless, a high average allowed to both sides of the plate last year, an extremely high home run per 9 allowed to both sides of the plate last year. Line drive rate was elevated as well, 26 and 25%. Again, just 29 innings for those two numbers specifically. However, in 2019, the numbers weren't much better, especially against righties. Mets going to come out pretty lefty heavy, so if you are going after some Mets bats here, you're probably hoping he's more of the 2020 pitcher against lefties than the 2019. However, the 2019 pitcher still had an incredibly high xFIP to lefties, so does suggest maybe he was a little bit on the lucky side there. So Mets would profile just fine. Brandon Nimmo, I think, is one of the hotter hitters in baseball right now. A lot of people aren't tracking the Mets. Nimmo's 8 for his last 20, 3 doubles, 5 strikeouts, so he's batting .400 with 6 walks. Again, it's easy to pluck a 20 at-bat sample size for any given player, so we're not going to overreact to that, but if he is leading off at 3,300 on FanDuel, I think he's a fine play. We're still waiting on Frankie Lindor to get involved and pay off that contract. Dom Smith, a couple bombs from him. The FanDuel pricing on the Mets seem overall a little bit more welcoming as a stack in terms of still getting to like a glass now and getting some pop in there. DraftKings make it have to go up there and pay for him quite a bit. Pete Alonso being 5.5K, Lindor being 5.1K. Again, I don't really pull my hair out over salary. Generally, I'm just saying from a value standpoint and how your optimizer is going to make some of these lineups work. It does look like the Mets seem a little bit more obtainable on FanDuel with some more higher end players to back it up. Neither pitcher for me here. Chat, you guys got anything crazy on this one? What up, Sean? Morning. Glass now, Albies, Acuna, Guerrero plugged in. Keep cooking. Yes, sir. Bryce got bit by Morejon in single entry. So, if you got pitching wrong yesterday, just chalk it up. Like, there's going to be slates where pitching is just rough. I definitely didn't like pitching pre-flop yesterday. The two pitchers I ended up the most were Jordan Montgomery and Matt Shoemaker. And honestly, it was probably a dub looking at the slate. But, like, every pitcher was getting smoked. Daniel Ponce de Leon was, I guess, the chalk pitcher, and he ended up with like -16, -17. We also saw 19% ownership on Marcus Stroman on FanDuel. So pitching was landmines everywhere yesterday. There are going to be slates like that. Please don't overreact to yesterday's if you failed or succeeded. Like, yesterday was wild. It was just I saw some lineups closing in on 300 points. I even tweeted, like, I was wondering if the cash line was going to compete with NBA. So don't overreact to yesterday. It happens. That's why I said I do prioritize pitching. I even put in my Discord, like, yesterday's slate was so bad that I didn't want to play normal volume, but I wanted something out there, right? Sunday afternoon, I want to watch some baseball, be cool, track a couple lineups. So I actually just put $40 into the quarter arcade on FanDuel. instead of going after like the $3 150. You know what I'm saying? So if you guys find yourself in a position like that where you just want some action, I definitely think that quarter contest on FanDuel is a great place to start. Not only like not even just for 150. Like if you're, I definitely encourage a lot of people if they're going to play baseball and understand. Making a sort of effort to understand metrics and ranges of outcomes and what can happen and how to play stacks. It's definitely a sport I encourage you guys to use an optimizer and work on your scripting skills, your stacking identifications, and your general just game theory construction of those lineups. Quarter arcade costs you a $40 bill a night, right? And you'll grind, but you'll start understanding what works and what doesn't work. And it's $37 if you did 150. If you just did 100 or even 50, I definitely think that's a cheaper way to kind of learn. If you lose a couple bucks a day, cool. If you hit a couple times a day, cool. But the process there is to kind of learn how to make these lineups without breaking your bank. And DraftKings also offers a mini max a couple of times. I think they offer 2 a day, a 50 cent and a $1 one. I do like the $1 one as well. So you don't have to spend a whole lot of money to try and learn baseball. So check those out if you haven't. What up, Sean? I was in second place for so long in that big $12 single entry and ended up like 20th because no JD in my Boston stacks. Oh no. Yeah, JD Martinez went full on fake mode. But man, I tell you what, as long as I've been playing DFS, JD triple donging is it just happens. It just happens. In my community, we call JD, the initials stand for just dong or just double. Because he's an extra base hit machine. And so far this season, that has been, he's been living up to his, namesake there. He has, in his first 35 at-bats, in his first 41 at-bats of the season, 7 doubles, 6 homers. So over half of his hits have been for extra base hits, slugging a 1.098. Just actually dumb. And then today he's going to get a fastball throw-in lefty. So, yeah, that's tough to miss out on that one. But, oof, is JD absolutely on fire right now. Casey says, 2K Espinal, valid or nah? Which site? Espinal? Again, yeah, I do like to hunt down a couple 2K players. Santiago Espinal for Toronto. Is he gonna be in the lineup? He may not be in the lineup. I think he was in there because of a couple of adverse reactions to the COVID vaccination. So as of yesterday, they optioned him. So he's not on the major league team. So I'd probably say no. I'm just kidding. But yeah, no. All right, let's move on to the next game. Where are we at? Braves hosting the Marlins. Braves, of course, playing the Sunday night game last night. We got Sandy Alcantara against Huascar Ynoa. I don't know if I'm saying his first name correctly. We have an implied run total of 4 runs for the Marlins, 4.6 for the Braves. Braves bats have come alive. Acuna and Freddie Freeman doing what they're expected to do. And then Ozzie Albies and Marcell Ozuna in the mix as well. Alcantara, though, also off to a really strong start to the season. Did he already pitch against the Braves or not? I think he has 2 starts under his belt. No, Tampa and St. Louis. These 2 starts, 6 innings each, 7 and 10 strikeouts. Got up to 93 pitches his last time out, over 20 fantasy points. So early on, I want to look at that. Excuse me. So I'm going to maybe do a process thing here. So like in my spreadsheet, if I find a pitcher that has done very well thus far, but maybe his metrics in the last 2 years don't line up with his success so far. So like I look at Alcantara last year, a 4.66 Sierra, a 4.44 xFIP, which is progressively better than the year prior. I want to see if in the 2 starts so far we can put our finger on luck, or is he progressing? Like, is he developing? So we're going to go to FanGraphs and we're going to pull up Sandy Alcantara's card. And I'm going to show you a couple of things that I'm looking at to kind of make this guess. So first of all, with the strikeouts per inning, I want to keep an eye on swinging strike rate. For 7 and 10 strikeouts with his number being a 10.8% swing and strike rate the last couple years, which is not great, but it's not terrible. Like over 10%, you can still get that pitch if you want it. And if I look at his pitch makeup as well, fastball, slider, curveball, changeup. So all of his secondary and off-speed breaking ball pitches were kind of graded negatively. So I want to keep an eye on his pitch usage on that to see if he's using those pitches to get the strikeouts, and then just just see how his pitch mix is playing out. So we're gonna go to game log on FanGraphs, and I'm going to look at XFIP. XFIP was 201 that last game, 4-1 on the Tampa game. So the 4 is a little elevated, but we're going to get wonky numbers in a one-game sample size. The BABIP was fine in that St. Louis game. 154 is a little lucky in the TB game, but again, small sample size. And now I want to look at strikeouts. So let's go to advanced. He had 40 and 30% K rates. Plate discipline. Is he getting some chases, anything like that? 68% contact rate, that one. He had a 15 and 18% swing and strike rate in those two games. So definitely much higher than the 10% that he has been averaging. So is he finding something to elevate this swing and strike rate a little bit more? It looks like that could be the case thus far. So because of that, I'm willing to put a hunch on playing him. I think that's encouraging. Also, while we're here, we want to check out the pitches he's been using. His fastball's up to 97. That'll do it. Last year, 96.7. So now he's getting up to 97, almost 98 that last start. That slider's up to 90. The curveball 84. So it looked like he really leaned on that changeup slider in the first two starts to back up those fastballs. So yeah, man, if he's going to find ways to miss bats, I'm in. I don't want to overreact to a two-game sample size, but at least the metrics are telling me that it wasn't luck. Like, he didn't get 5 backward Ks where an ump with a bad zone was, calling outside pitches for strikes necessarily with a 15% swing and strike rate, showing that he was earning a couple whiffs, right? So I'm willing to kind of believe in some of these numbers for Alcantara. With that said, the Braves are really, really, really good, and they have seen some really good pitching over the course of last week. And Alcantara just going to be curtain calling. Guys like we didn't see Nola the other day. So I want to play some Alcantara, but I'm also going to have a couple of these Braves bats. I think Acuna and Freddie Freeman are matchup-proof guys that we can get to. His price point, Acuna that is, $6K on DraftKings. I mean, that's SB2 area where you're likely going to need double-digit fantasy points to feel like it was the play. But leading off, man, he's just getting it done. Yesterday, there's a clip of him beating out a ground ball that went to Didi Gregorius, a solid defender, to leg out an infield single, and it had every right to be just a lazy ground out to short. So not only does he have the power, but he has the ability to make some hustle plays. So yeah, I'll be there on one-offing Acuna, Freddie Freeman. But I think I might have some Alcantara as a pitching option on DraftKings for now, especially if I can get him early before like the world does. If he's going to be this good. If he's not, he's going to regret it happens. But the first two games are encouraging. Let me see if he's kept that ground ball rate solid. So we're going to check out the batted ball. Ground ball is at 46%. Did allow 46% fly ball rate to Tampa. Is not what you want. But no hard contact in either game. 15% hard contact in both games. So again, like two game sample size, perhaps unsustainable, but the metrics don't suggest much luck. If you're going to have a low hard contact rate, a high ground ball rate, and a high swing and strike rate, there is an opportunity for success to continue to develop here. It is going to be a quick turnaround here for the Braves Sunday night into the next day. Enoa, what are we getting from Enoa? If you need a punt option, Enoa guy. No, that was terrible. 6K on DK. Got up to 68 pitches that last outing. 14. Is he like a bullpen guy that they've turn into an opener and see how many innings you can get out of him. Got 19 against Washington. Kind of hard to feel strong about that, but yeah, high xFIP last year, 21 innings of sample size. What kind of pitches are we dealing with? I don't think I'm going to play Noah here. Fastball, sliders above average, fastball below average. I mean, it is the Marlins. If you wanted to land there, go for it. I don't know that I can confidently say that Noah is anything but an opener. And if he gets to 5 innings, he gets to 5 innings. His schedule will start Monday series against the Marlins. We're surprised to get the nod over Max Fried for series over, even though both pitchers are similar rest schedules. I guess Noah is ground ball strikeout guy. If he got to 68 pitches that last outing against the Nats, getting 5 innings off of 68 pitches is kind of best case scenario. But if he can stretch on that 68, another 15 pitches, maybe get to 80, 85. Yeah, maybe he can go for another 5 innings here. So kind of be like a DraftKings only, cap him at 10% play for me, going against a weaker Marlins offense here. Corey Dickerson, Starling Marte, Jesus Aguilar, all guys with a sub 20% K rate against righties. But in the middle of that lineup, Brian Anderson, Adam Duvall, Jazz Chisholm, who did homer off of Jacob deGrom, Jorge Alfaro, and the pitcher himself. Like, there is some strikeouts in that lineup. So maybe it's not like an insane SP2 punt. I wouldn't really get there on FanDuel. On FanDuel, I'm really trying to limit to guys I think can get 6 innings, give me a shot at the quality start on top of the win and stuff like that. So maybe just a DK SP2 option. And, of course, if you get in the Marlins specifically, that's really just if it happens, if it works, it works. But I'd be more so on the Braves here. Braves implied run total, though, isn't anything crazy. Just 4.6. So they're giving Alcantara some respect, right? Let's see what you guys got in the chat before we move on. He's good. Braves bats are hot, but I think he does fine. Yeah, that's kind of my stance. It looks like Alcantara is like solid, but there are some upper echelon bats he's got to get through. Acuna, Freeman, and then Albies and Ozuna are strong players in themselves, but Acuna and Freeman are really my concerns. So I'll play some Alcantara, but he's not going to be tier 1 or anything like that. Probably a tier 3 guy, just because I do think he's a good pitcher. Alcantara's been looking valid, can't lie. Would that scare you off of Braves at all? I haven't been stacking Braves, but I have been, when I make my stacks, I have specifically been going to the Braves lineup and activating Acuna and Freeman, and that's probably, I'll probably do that every slate, no matter who they're going at. Like, going against Max Scherzer, I'm still going to have Acuna and Freeman. Those guys are just pro hitters, and Acuna is offering some incredible upside. And Acuna, when he's fully healthy and giving you that non-lazy Acuna baseball, he's an MVP caliber player. So, I'm maybe not landing on full onslaught Braves stacks just yet, but Freeman Acuna will be activated, and I'll trust that the optimizer puts them in my other stacks to get me where I need to go. But if you wanted to stack Braves, they have a solid 4 or 5 guys that you can feel okay with getting to. I think 1 through 5 in this projected lineup would be more than fine, right? What's up, Darius? As a Braves fan, Alcantara deserves respect. Let's go. Might have to fade him and hope Braves smack some dingers. I hit dingers. Let's move on to the next game here. The Brewers. Did the St. Louis Cardinals wake up the Brewers? Got the Brewers hosting the Cubs. Adbert Auseleh taking on Freddie Peralta. All right, let's talk about Freddie Peralta. I think it was this game against the Cubs where I was off of Peralta because I did not know what to expect pitch count wise, and I just thought maybe he'd be a 40 pitch guy. He went from 50 pitches to 91, and I was like, what? You could do that? You don't just stretch out another 40 pitches, but he did. So maybe on the sly, after that Minnesota appearance, they threw him in the back and just told him to keep throwing pitches and stretch out. So he got to 91 pitches. When I saw he went to 91 pitches, I immediately went to my season-long leagues and scooped up Freddie Peralta everywhere I could, because this guy is really good and he's really dirty. I know his whip is at 1.43 on the season. He does have a walk issue so far, but he's got elite strikeout stuff. So let's talk about that. Freddie Peralta, if you look back the last couple years to both sides of the plate, the strikeout numbers are insane. Yeah, the xFIP's up there, but the strikeout numbers are elite. So you are playing with fire if he does not have his control, if he does start walking guys, but the 42% K rate to righties last year, the 36.4% K rate to lefties, the near 16% swinging strike rate, pretty doggone dirty. And then if we can quantify that and see if he's built on that going into this season in those couple of games so far, it'll make me feel even better. So let's go to game logs on his FanGraphs card, and let's go to I guess play discipline. We want to make sure that swing strike rate is still up there. 17-18%. That's effing dirty. Let's go to pitch type. Fastball sitting at 96 miles an hour in the first game, but only about 94 the second game. That's interesting. Backing it up with the slider. Really a fastball slider guy. So the fact that he's getting those numbers with just 2 pitches is incredible. Kind of reminds you of the old Chris Archer days. But backing up a slider that's 13 miles an hour slower. Yeah, I get it. And last time I'm gonna go check out standard. What was the xFIP for those first 2 games? Dashboard maybe. There it is. 306,254. So numbers were there. So yeah, I think with him we're worried about keeping the ball in the strike zone, kind of like Lance McCullers. Like if he gets a little wild and isn't throwing strikes, he could waste more pitches and then he starts creating traffic, and that's a problem. But 7.7K for potential strikeout per inning, I'm going to be a buyer here. I think the Cubs are definitely an offense to be a little bit worried about when they're at their best, but we have definitely seen them come out flat. And if we're looking at particular strikeout rates against righties over the course of the last 2 years, I've got 2 guys under 20%, that being Jason Hayward and Anthony Rizzo, and then everyone else is 25%-ish or greater, plus the pitcher spot. So I will definitely be playing some Freddie Peralta today. I think I'd toss him into tier 3 right now. I have a tier 1, 2, 3. Tier 1 right now is a guy like Glasnow. Tier 2 is probably a guy like Cole, and then 3 is going to be guys like Peralta, Alcantara so far. So he's kind of in that tier for me right now. I think he has at least strikeout potential. And that's really it. I'm looking for those strikeouts, and the fact that he went 90 pitches suggests that maybe he can be an actual 5-6 inning guy to maybe eat a chance at a win and maybe a quality start on FanDuel. On the Cubs side, Albert Auseleh came into this season with very poor metrics on very small sample size. So because of how vast this slate is, I probably don't have an infatuation with Auseleh today. In his 1 appearance against the Brewers, he dropped 7 fantasy points, 4 strikeouts, gave up 4 hits, 2 walks, and a pair of bombs. So I'm going to probably stay away from him yet again. The Brewers had a couple of blow-up games in that St. Louis series. I got Yelich as the top guy in the bomb detector. Travis Shaw's been showing some pop, and Omar Narvaez, 3.8 in the bomb detector is still pretty good. So there is some power there. I'm not in love with Jackie Bradley Jr. as a leadoff option for them, but he is pretty cheap on FanDuel. So if you're getting a leadoff lefty in Miller Park or whatever it is now, family park, that's a cheap opportunity cost at the spot. So if he gets on base a couple times, or even if he hits one, you're fine. But yeah, the Brewers don't have like an incredible run total, 4.6 implied run total. The game's not projected shootout. However, it will be one of the more hitter-friendly parks on the slate. We'll see if the roof is kept open there. But yeah, I think you can give me some Peralta. If I wanted to pick on Peralta, looks like Jock Peterson projects well in the bomb detector, 3.95 unweighted bomb rating. So getting close to 4. Jock has brought down that K percentage down to 22%. So maybe Jock Peterson and Ian Happ for chip at a chair bombs here. But I'm more interested in Peralta than I am in the stack, Do you like Peralta on FanDuel? Yeah, I can get there. Braves fans scared of Alcantara. He looks pretty good. Sean Yelich left yesterday with injuries. All right, so we'll definitely keep an eye on that. If Yelich and Travis Shaw are not in the lineup, obviously, I don't think I want to play Auseleh, but that would water down the Brewers in really, really, really tough ways. Like, those are, other than Omar Narvaez and maybe Keston Hiura, like, those are probably their two best bats day to day right now. And yeah, that would just be ugly. So would not be stacking from this game. Maybe a couple one-offs here and there. Let's move on to the next game. The Cardinals hosting the Nationals. Nationals going to be throwing Eric Fetty Wap up against John Gant. Two pitchers that are uninspiring to say the least. Last year, John Gant, in small sample, had some of his best metrics, but just 15 innings of work. So I can't overreact to that. St. Louis has played really weird in the last couple days because they've had some big wind jet streams like blowing to the outfield. And we've seen a team like the Brewers have been pretty stagnant to start the season, kind of wake up. Eric Fetty has been a contact pitcher in his major league campaign thus far. 8%, 7%, 5% swinging strike rate, regressing in a progressive manner in the last couple seasons, high xFIP. So if you want to get there on some Cardinals, I definitely am not pushing you away. In his defense, I guess, for Fetty, I don't want to say defense, but maybe to kill a couple stacks, he does keep the ball on the ground, 62% ground ball rate last year to lefties, almost a 49% to righties. So he's been a ground ball pitcher, but everything in between is bad. The average allowed, the hard contact has been elevated in time. So yeah, if you want to land on some Cardinals, go for it. They do have a 4.7 implied run total. I wouldn't talk you off of that. Fetty is definitely not somebody I'm looking at. And then John Gant, he's 5.7K, right? So we're going to see if he's going to be a true starter. I think, was it the Braves? Was it the Braves that was dabbling with him years past? He went 4 innings against Miami with 82 pitches. So if he stretches that a little bit more to 90, 95, it's 5,700. I mean, he's cheaper than Acuna, right? He's cheaper than a couple bats. So could we get 10 to 15 as a punt SB2, cap him at 5%, like 150 lineups? Maybe. This is definitely not a lineup I want to like pick on. So like the thought is there just because of some of the metrics we've seen, but I probably don't allow myself to push that button. On the Nat side, Juan Soto, 4K on FanDuel, 5.4. He's, if he stays healthy, kind of like Acuna, he could be one of the best players in baseball, or the best player. Trey Turner, 3,900 on FanDuel. If he gets on, you can turn a double into or a single into a double. It's got a little pop there too. I usually prefer Zimmerman against lefties, but his sample size is going to be a little bit skewed because of the year off. It's really Trey Turner and Soto just kind of standing out to me. And then on the Cardinals side, if I'm just picking on Eric Fetty here, I'm leaning on some of the pedigree of Goldie, Arenado, but that's kind of it right now. I'm not pushing the stack button on either one of these teams just yet. So you guys got any takes on this one? Any strong ones? Casey said got a -6 from Fetty last game. Barbecue chicken alert. He's definitely a bum, but if you're a bum, I want to pick on bums, but I want to pick on bums that give up some bombs. And he definitely, he can give up bombs. 2.7 home run per 9 last year to righties. Definitely in his makeup, his DNA to give up bombs. But I am worried about the ground ball rate. So yeah, I'd be all about these Cardinals bats. Edman, Goldie, Arenado, throw a catcher in there. Yachty's 2,600 on FanDuel. I don't know if he hits that category of a catcher I would play if I didn't have to play catcher. But in the cleanup spot, yeah, he'd probably complete a stack or two. Paul DeJong, yeah, I'd probably get to some Cardinals. We'll see. I haven't had one stack that I just am in love with yet. I guess the Yankees, but, asterisk on that one. So, yeah, I guess the Cardinals. Do you like Gant at all as value? I think on DraftKings only as an SB2, if I'm running 150 lineups, I could see some Gant as a cap at 5 to 8%. I'm not saying I would have 5 to 8%, but I would go through and say I want no more than 8% if my opto is going to go out there and give me those stank lineups, right? Those Acuna, Judges, you know what I'm saying? Like those big boy lineups. If I needed Gant to make that happen and then hope for Gant to give me hitters points like a 10 to 15, maybe. But if I'm running a single entry or 3, 5, even 20, I probably wouldn't get to a John Gant, 2K Austin Dean could get a couple hits on that point. Yup, stacking's overrated. Stacking's not. Like, I saw you say that in the Discord yesterday, but 1 through 4 at Boston was still like the nuts. 1 through 4 all had double-digit fantasy points. So it's overrated for like cash and stuff like that. But in tournaments, it's borderline a must. Like, it's almost always going to be at the top. Yesterday's a little bit of a weirder example because every team went nuts, but that's not like normal, right? Like on an average slate, you're gonna have a pitcher or two that stand out from the rest, and then a couple of stacks that lean up that don't involve triple dongs, double dongs here and there. So definitely stacking is the proven method on almost a near daily basis for the last half a decade for MLB. Let's move on to the next game here. Astros hosting the Tigers. But the reason why stacking is overrated in short entry and cash is because you literally rip out the floor and you're selling out for ceiling. So in mass field tournaments, that's you only care about ceiling. The floor doesn't matter. But if you commit all into a stack into like a 50-50 or something like that, then you're really, really, really pushing yourself. Top Shot Johnny, when you withdrew from Top Shot, how long did it take for its process? Mine has been almost a week. I think mine took like 3 days. Gant is pitching for a spot in rotation. Yep. Give me 3-2-1 type build over 5-3. Okay, so I'll agree with that. Like I think everyone has their preferred stacking methods. I like a 4-4 or a 4-3 or a 3-3. I feel like when I do 3-3 and trust my ratings, the 3-3 that it gives me are like good guys. Like not the Jackie Bradleys of the world, but like the better 3, and then we fill in the blanks. But I also set it to where if it gave me an extra player from either stack, go for it. 5 is a little aggressive, yeah. No need some stacking. So Gant is pitching for a spot. Okay, we're good. All right, let's move on to this Astros game. Casey Mize taking on Zach Greinke out there in Minute Maid Park. Astros a -212 favorite right now. It looks like they might have the roof open in Minute Maid. Zach Greinke on the bump. He's 9.8 on FanDuel, 10.2K on DraftKings, and Casey Mize 6.2, 6.1. Astros probably going to be one of the lead options on stackability teams today. A 5.5 implied run total for them. I think that's the highest that we've discussed so far. Maybe the Yankees get over 5 as well. But I think the Astros right now are at the highest. Casey Mize is just not really put it together in the big leagues. Man, if you drink a Bang first thing in the morning, it gives you the hiccups apparently. By the way, this is first thing in the morning. 5 hits allowed, 4 innings against Minnesota. No bombs. Ground ball, fly ball ratio was 6-3 with 2 walks. Last year, Mize had a 1.5 home run per 9 to righties and a 2.31 home run per 9 to lefties. This Astros lineup is going to be pretty even. Kyle Tucker, Yordan, Alvarez, Michael Brantley, the big lefties, and for power, Alvarez right there in the thick of things. So yeah, I'm probably not going to land on some Mize here. Also, just don't trust pitching at Houston. Greinke's an interesting click here, throwing that that change-up fastball, same velocity at this Tigers team. Tigers have an implied run total of 3.7. Could Greinke be right there in the mix of a Garrett Cole and Glasnow in terms of upside? Maybe. It's still harder to trust the low velocity 10K guys, but 16-23 in his last 2 starts. Angels are a tough team. At Oakland, he should have thrived there. 6 innings pitched there. Did get less than a strikeout per inning. I think this is just going to be natural. Like, if your velocity is going to be as slow as Greinke's is, I think your strikeout numbers are going to go down. And then Greinke might turn into like a Kyle Hendricks type pitcher where he's just getting soft contact intentionally, but it like that plays in MLB. But for fantasy, strikeout's kind of king. 87-mile-an-hour fastball last year, 84-mile-an-hour slider, and a 86-mile-an-hour changeup last year. So just out of curiosity, has his velocity this year been consistent with what it was last year? Let's go check out game log. And then we'll also see if his swinging strike rate's going down. Because it's definitely stands to reason that Greinke is purposely pitching to contact. So let's go check out plate discipline in the first couple games. And I don't know what I just clicked, but I messed up. Shout out to Fangraphs. Fangraphs says Bay. 7%, 6% swinging strike rate in the first 2 games. A first pitch strike rate of 84% in that first game. A nice 69% in the second game. And then pitch type, what's the velo at? 88 on the fastball, 86, 87 on the changeup. And then he's throwing that curveball at 22%. Is that consistent with last year? Last year he was at 16% on that curveball. So in the first 2 games, 18 and 21%. So that's gone up a little bit. You know, it could be a victim of circumstance in that game, but that's something to watch. And the changeup's at about 25% through the first 2 games, which is a little bit more, but not much more than the last couple seasons. So what we're taking away from that is that swing and strike rate is down to 8% or less, which means he's pitching the contact. Could that change going forward? We'll see, but that does kind of strip away some strikeout potential, even going against a Tigers lineup that does have a lot of strikeouts in it. So I think because of the pedigree of the pitcher of Greinke and because of him being a massive favorite, I think on FanDuel I still get to some Greinke. And hope for that quality start, win a bonus, and maybe a couple of strikeouts in the mix. But the swing and strike rate and the velo does have me worried that he's not going to miss a ton of bats here. But if he's going to soft contact and get out, like I said, that'll play in the majors. 40% hard contact in the Oakland game, 14% in the Angels game. Soft contact is it's the medium contact that's happening. A high pull rate being allowed as well. With a fly ball rate over 40% in both games. So kind of watch out for that. Kind of watch out for that. I guess, you can time slow pitches better and pull them. Not that there's like a ton of power in this lineup. Maybe a Kill Badu continues his hot start. But yeah, kind of watch out for that. So a couple of Greinke shares, but he'll probably be tier 3 for me. Probably no Casey Mize. Astros fully stackable here. 1 through 7 would probably be my preferred options on the Astros. I would never rule out a catcher in a stack on DraftKings, so if he makes the mix, go for it. Miles Straw, same, but like 1 through 7 I think have a lot more viability pre and post flop. And then if we're looking at that bomb detector, all the lefties have an extremely high bomb rating. Michael Brantley, Yordan Alvarez, and Kyle Tucker. I think Alvarez might have the highest bomb rating of the day. Now, I do want to caution you guys, this is based on limited sample size of Casey Mize in the majors. He's 3 behind Judge and Jed Lowry. And again, Lowry's going to be tainted by small sample size, and I imagine Judge is getting boosted by his opponent's small sample size. So sample size is everything, but if you get into that 4 number, I'm interested. So give me some Yordan Alvarez here against Casey Mize, and give me the Astros stack, and probably no Mize, and maybe a tier 3 listing of Zach Greinke. Yeah, no. Lab says Twins, Red Sox postponed. Oh yeah. Is that the day game? Because I don't think I ever wrote that on the main slate. That might be the day game. But keep an eye on that, because is that in Boston? Is that going to be the same storm cell like the Mets have to deal with later? Definitely worth noting. But I'm not going to pretend to be a meteorologist, so find someone who is, right? What's up, AJBK? Yo, Gun, what about Inoa for Atlanta? I think on this slate, like as big as this slate is, I don't think I want to get too uncomfortable at pitcher, and I don't know what to expect from Inoa in terms of pitch count and length. Like I think at 6K you could justify it in Mashville tournaments as a SP2, but like I said, if I'm running 100, 150 lineups, there's no way I allow myself to have more than like a 5 to 8%, 10% max at a 6K. Like I'm treating him as a bat. A 6K bat, I'm looking for home run points. Could I get home run points from Inoa, like 14, If you think that's possible, go for it. But there's just a lot of uncertainty. To get 5 innings out of 68 pitches is a lot's going your way. And if that happens again here and you're still picking up a strikeout per inning, like cool, but that is a little bit on the anomalic side. So I think it's just a mass entry play and not something I would get to in 20 or less. Did you do a crypto withdrawal? Because cash to your bank account, no way, took 3 days. No, I did it straight to my bank account. One of the bank accounts. Yeah, 3 days. I mean, maybe it took 4. Like, it wasn't that long. Like, if you've been waiting a week, it's definitely longer than I waited. But I feel like it was just like a 3-day thing, and it hit me. But I might remember, like, I wasn't sitting on, like, I wasn't counting down. You know what I'm saying? So, like, it might have been more than 3 days, but it definitely wasn't long enough for me to be like, man, I haven't got paid yet. Like, I got paid in a decent period of time. What up, Jay? Couple years for the one time. By the way, if you guys are members of the channel, you get 4 emotes, including the year. We'll throw that. That's what it looks like. I love that you guys go to when I do other streams. I'll pop in the years. One day we're gonna get Alex to say year. It's gonna be beautiful. Where are we at here? All right, let's move on to the next game. Angels at the Royals. Project starting 5 for the Angels. Alex Cobb. I think Cobb was supposed to start yesterday, but the game got canned. Going against Brady Singer. This game in Kaufman. So Angels are traveling east to west-ish. And the Royals were sitting there waiting on him. Alex Cobb, definitely not somebody that I'm going to be playing today. Brady Singer, probably more of the same. So I'm more so looking at the offenses here, looking at the implied run totals for this one. Angels at 4.6, Royals at 4.5. I mean, it's the usual suspects for the Angels: Ohtani, Trout, Walsh. Is Ohtani supposed to pitch? Was he supposed to pitch today or tomorrow? The only if Ohtani's supposed to pitch tomorrow, like maybe they think about giving him a day off, but they didn't last time. So I don't know. I guess Ohtani wants to be in the lineup. So just kind of keep an eye on that. There's a chance that Ohtani maybe misses a lineup a day prior, a day after him pitching. But it sounds like he doesn't want that to happen, and he's coming off a day of rest anyway. So we'll see. But yeah, usual suspects for me on the Angels side. We have temps in the 60s. It's Kaufman. He usually plays a lot more pitcher-friendly. That first series in Kaufman was a little bit more hitter-friendly temperature than usual at this time of year. But Ohtani, Trout, Walsh, definitely 3 guys I'd be buyers in here. Walsh usually starts over Pujols based on the platoon matchup. And Brady Singer is a righty. Singer last year a 4.61 xFIP, 2 lefties. Did keep the ball on the ground a little bit more, but again, nothing for me to like run away from. But I'm also not just like running to. Like I don't know if I'll have any full-fledged Angel stacks, but the talent is just too good to not have Ohtanis and Trouts in the mix. You know what I'm saying? So that's probably how I'll approach the Angels, where they're able to kind of shuffle their way in. The Royals are a little bit more intriguing to me. I feel like I'm in the DFS space. I feel like I'm one of the high men on the Royals. Like I just feel like the Royals are better than people think they are. With Merrifield, Andrew Benintendi, Salvi, Santana, Jorge Soler, like I feel like from a DFS standpoint, like maybe they're like the Minnesota Timberwolves, where like they're not a good team, but for DFS they kind of give me enough at each position what I'm looking for. Like with Merrifield, an on-base machine, stolen base potential with some power. Salvi, for a catcher standpoint, can hit for a great average, be in a positive spot in the lineup. Carlos Santana's an on-base machine. Like his average will never look particularly great, but he'll take his walks and he'll knick-knack his way. And of course Soler's got some power. I guess Benintendi so far has not shown it, but I think it's there. So I don't know, I just think the Royals are better than the field gives them credit for. And Alex Cobb definitely has had his struggles over the course of the last couple seasons. Last year, 45 innings of work, had a 1.44 home run per 9 to righties, a 1.77 to lefties. Definitely some pop in this lineup. And I also like Soler. I like Soler if I can get him against a pitcher that doesn't strike people out. And last year, Cobb had a 9% swing and strike rate with just a 16% swing and K rate to righties. Like I like those power bats with strikeout bugaboos going against a softer spot to get one. So 3K on Soler. He has a bomb rating over 4. I like that. Salvi as well. So yeah, I don't know. I might have some straight up Royal stacks, but I'll definitely have exposure to the Royals today. And those are a couple of names that are kind of sticking out to me. Yeah, no. Yo, what up, Adam? You're based on how many games on the slate is how I decide which stack to use. Yeah. What's up, Chris? Like seeing you on Osmo, better seeing you on your own channel. I appreciate that. Man, I love the Osmo shows though. Like, it's so much easier for me to just sit here and talk than it is to have to navigate screens, make sure that the producing the slides and all that stuff. Like, both are fun for me, but I also just love talking DFS with some vets. So I think I got a good little deal going. All right, I can still do my own thing here, and I can hang out with them too. It's Cobb, Bundy, Canning. It's Cobb, Bundy, Canning. Oh, okay. So you're saying Ohtani's not? Were they gonna skip Ohtani's start after last time? Maybe that's what the plan was. Because he's definitely due. Like, it should have been his turn in the lineup. He started last Sunday, right? So, man, I don't know. Maybe they're going light on him. But yeah, that last start got a little ugly. Madden left him out there a little longer, and then he had that ugly play at the plate with was it Maldonado? Yeah. Gun, does light rain throughout the whole game help hitters or pitchers? Probably hitters in case a slippery field gets a outfielder to slip or something like that. But I don't think it's like, if it's light, like if it's just sprinkling, it's not like a crazy boost for anyone. Hitters are going to deal with rain touching their face. The ball doesn't really get super exposed to the weather. So I don't know. I think it's kind of a neutral. Everyone has enough effect from it, right? What's up, Scott? They want to throw about 12 games this year, Ohtani. Okay, so then, yeah, Ohtani should be expected to be in the lineup then if he's not due to start this series. They probably, if that's the case, if they only want 12 starts from Ohtani, I would almost guarantee that they're all going to be home starts. They just F the rest of the league's ticket sales, right? All right, let's move on to the next game here. White Sox hosting the Indians. Tristan Mckenzie taking on Carlos Rodon. Looking at this game's temperature, it's at 56 degrees, but the wind is blowing out towards left center, which will help your righty pull hitters and your lefty oppo hitters. And that's interesting because Jordan Luplow is facing a lefty in Carlos Rodon. Rodon, I think, will be one of the pitchers on the slate that have the most strikeout upside, the most potential, but he does come with some risk. We saw him get a little bit wild that last game, kept getting into jams, but he kept striking his way out of jams, and that's just a level of stress that you're going to have to deal with when you play guys like him, guys like Lance McCullers. 5 innings in that game, threw 95 pitches, 29 fantasy points thanks to the 9 strikeouts, but 3 walks, 2 hits. The whip was at a solid 1. I think that matchup against Seattle, I think Seattle's just kind of one of the teams that I think we're all going to agree is going to be below average. And now he's facing a Cleveland team that the jury's still kind of out on Cleveland, right? Like, every day, like, Cleveland looks pretty good. Even yesterday, for an example, and they just haven't been consistently they've just been that one game against Julio Teheran, I was running against him, and then Teheran didn't start. And then, Franmil Reyes was the guy. And then yesterday, the Indians projected extremely well again with the wind blowing out. So, I think the jury's still out on the Indians being anything above average. With that said, Carlos Rodon's biggest feat as a pitcher is his ability to get strikeouts. And I think the Indians' biggest feat as a team against lefties is the ability to not strike out. 19, 14, 9%, 14%, 16% K rates to lefties in that 1 through 6. So might be a tough matchup for Rodon. And maybe that neutralizes my interest in him, and maybe I just have him as a, up to 8% guy in 100 lineups or something like that. And then metrically, Jordan Luplow, not a ton of sample size, but enough sample size that the bomb detector's in love with him anytime he faces a lefty. And I believe he went Yabo on a lefty over the weekend. Was it yesterday? I swear, I think he hit one. Might have been yesterday. Last 2 weeks, Luplow has 2 bombs in 18 at bats, 5 strikeouts. doesn't hit for a great average, you're hoping that he catches one over the plate. And that's kind of the chip in a chair at his price point. And if he's leading off here, it's just kind of the way you play him. Jose Ramirez, definitely in play any day. Again, nothing for me to love him extra today, but he's Jose Ramirez. And Franmil Reyes is the guy I do like against lefties, but kind of like I talked about Jorge Soler, I like him against guys that don't have great strikeout stuff because he will strike out. He has a 26% K rate to lefties. So, I mean, it's a battle of will he strike out or not. If he doesn't strike out, he's definitely a guy that can take a lefty yabo. Had a pair of homers the other day off of was it Matt Moore? Maybe. Yeah. So, Rodon good. White Sox bullpen projected to be a top 4 bullpen in baseball. They've been leaky. We expect him to get right, but it just hasn't happened. If we look at the bullpen usage tab in the RunDFS.com NBA or MLB VIP spreadsheet, scroll down. Let's go to the White Sox bullpen, kind of see what their usage has been. Looks like yesterday they had to use quite a bit of arms. Liam Hendricks threw 28 pitches. Michael Kopech threw 26. Is this real? Aaron Bummer, Garrett Crochet, 12 and 12. So they might be available today, but I don't think Liam Hendricks and Kopech would be available today. And those are probably 2 of their better projected arms other than Crochet. So I guess Bummer too. So, I mean, if Bummer and Crochet are available, they would probably just stick with the platoon advantage on Jordan Luplow and Franmil Reyes. And then these other guys, Foster, Hoyer. Yeah, maybe I get to a couple Indians one-offs. I don't want to find myself stacking Indians here. I just don't. They have not been that good. But Luplow, Ramirez, and Franmil will be in the player pool and spray and pray them across my actual stacks. Tristan Mckenzie, 38% K rate last year to righties, 29 innings of sample size, 24% to lefties. His xFIP and Sierra were both under 4. Sierra at 3.52 last year. To start the season, Mckenzie maybe has come out a little bit flat in that last start against KC. He only went 3.2, 4 walks, 5 strikeouts, 58 pitches. So the 58 pitches is probably the most staggering number there for me. I would imagine they he went to the back and stretched out a little bit more. Maybe he was in a jam here, but do we get to 70, 75 pitches at 9K? That seems a little bit rough. So I think if I can just not play him, I think I won't. 9.2 is a little up there. 7.5 on FanDuel. If you believe in a QS and a win, go for it. But the White Sox, even without Tim Anderson and Eloy Jimenez, are still enough of a nuisance against both sides of the plate that I probably stay away from Mckenzie here. Eaton, Robert, Abreu, Moncada, Yermin, Mercedes, Yasmani Grande. Like, there's still enough talent in this lineup that I don't have to, like, I don't feel like McKenzie breaks the slate on this lineup. So I probably just stay away from McKenzie. Rodon, I think, is the strong meditation point. So I'm curious to see what you guys do with him, right? What up, Pete? Good morning, Pete. Sean Franwell's definitely locked in right now. He's looking good. Rodon has always owned the Indians. Career ERA is under 3 against the Tribe. Luplow sucks on the road. Come on, bro. What? I would be careful with that Luplow home road split stuff because I can't imagine they're just like one that's just like what, like. Be careful with that. Be careful with that. I can do home road splits on pitchers. But for hitters, especially hitters with not a deep sample size, just be careful to put context to what the road splits are, right? Are the road splits more hitters' parks, more pitchers' parks? What are the batter's eyes here? And for Luplow, he's really just a guy I want against lefties anyway. So is he on the road versus lefties in a neutral plus park? You know what I'm saying? Like, be careful with stuff like that. It could get a little bit noisy. Let's move on to the next game here. D-backs hosting the Athletics. Chris Bassett, Hound, taking on Madison Bumgarner. Mad Bum came in the 9th inning the other day to pinch hit with a runner on first, 2 outs, tie ball game. You guessed it. He striked out because pitchers suck at hitting. And then the game went to extras, and the D-backs decided not to sack bunt runners over, and then they lose because of the runner on second rule. Mad Bum taking the mound here. Athletics are a team that have been not fantastic to start the year offensively, but they will have the benefit of a 5.1 implied run total. Keep an eye on Chase Field's roof status. Usually early on into the season, we see them play with the roof open a little bit more because the temperatures in Arizona are not 110 degrees. Right now, it looks like sites are projecting it to be open, and it's going to be close to 90 degrees. Yes, they have a humidor. Yes, the humidor is supposed to help pitchers in this scenario. However, this heat will make up for some of that, and also create a more hitter-friendly environment. So even if the roof's closed, I'm willing to come here on the Athletics. And this is going to be more of a hunch play than anything. And it's because Madison Bumgarner has been really bad against righties. He's not missing bats. His swing and strike rate last year dropped to under 8%. And he has already been one of the highest hard contact allowed to righties leaders in baseball over the course of the last couple of years. And he doesn't have Oracle Park to bail him out here. So Mark Hanna, Jed Lowry, Matt Chapman, couple guys that I would chip and chair for some bombs. I wouldn't say the entire, but a lot of the Athletics have a bomb rating over 4. Piscotty, Chapman, Jed Lowry, Ramon Laureano, and Mark Hanna. So I would be playing a couple of these guys for, I don't know what just happened. I would be playing a couple of these guys for some long balls here against Mad Bum. And I'm probably not going to pitch Mad Bum, even if the Athletics don't drop a stackable game. Mad Bum just really has not been great enough for me to go after. So unless this Athletics lineup comes out with more lefties, even Matt Olson, even if I'm stacking Athletics, getting into this D-backs bullpen, I probably still hang on to Matt Olson for the heck of it. And last year, Mad Bum did allow home runs to lefties too, a 1.93 home run per night. So 36 innings of sample size, I think he finds a little bit, I think he comes up from 8%, but I still think until proven otherwise, Mad Bum's going to be a guy I target from a day-to-day basis. Chris Bassett, 6'9" on FanDuel, 7'4" on DraftKings. Swing and strike rate last year was at 9% for him. He's had a couple of solid games in spring training that made me think that, could I get more strikeouts from Bassett going forward? In 2 games thus far, he's had 2 really tough pick-of-the-litter games, 5.1 innings against Houston, got 8 fantasy points, 3 strikeouts, and then he caught the Dodgers. What a rough 2 starts to start the season for him. So I probably don't play him here, but I also think that maybe the jury's out. We still wait to see how he does against more neutral to neutral minus teams. I think without Ketel Marte, the D-backs could be one of the worst teams in baseball in a neutral environment. So we'll see. With that said, Tim LaCastro is kind of one of those guys that if you guys are not familiar with Tim LaCastro and you get some time, look for some videos on YouTube about Tim LaCastro. I think Baseball Doesn't Exist has a fascinating one on him. LaCastro is just an on-base machine. I think he's the fastest guy in baseball, and he just finds ways to get on, and he's a free stolen base if he does reach. So he's kind of like Billy Hamilton from 4 years ago, and him leading at the top of a lineup is just like a glitch. So at 2,400 on FanDuel, he'll often be one of my value plays in short entry, 25 entry max, single entry, something like that, because that's just really, really cheap for a guy that can give me the floor with stolen bases being what they are worth over there. I think they're 6. So look for him. Bassett has been a home run bugaboo to lefties guy. Cole Calhoun was recently reintroduced to the D-backs lineup. And David Peralta, the freight train, got into one last night as well. Asdrubal has hit one over the weekend as well. And Eduardo Escobar, I think he has 4 already on the year. So maybe the D-backs are getting hot at the right time to get into this Athletics starter. And if we look at the Athletics bullpen usage lately, their bullpen not what it once was, by the way. They had the day off yesterday, so I think everyone's available. So yeah, I think if we're playing the park here, playing the heat, the roof being open, I think both teams are easily in play. And that's all I got to say about that. No, is Nate Quinn an everyday lock? Yeah, he's been on fire, and then when Jesse Winker has been out, he's been leading off, so I don't mind that. Oakland's by far the highest owned team stack. Are they? I haven't looked, but like I understand it. But like if I was making my percentage from my stacks, Oakland wouldn't be the highest, just because they have been kind of lackluster. But like I completely understand picking on Mad Bum, and like I said, they're in my bomb detector. They're like almost all over 4 anyway. So like I understand it, but like I don't know. I guess highest is kind of misleading, right? Like because 15% on this slate could be the highest on stack. We'll see. I'll look more into it. I would have thought that the Astros would have been the highest. Kyle Tucker looks the safest hitter nightly. Yup. Bassett swinging strike rate hasn't been impressive through 2 games either. All right, that's worth noting. All right, we got 1 game left on the docket. Time to take a pause for the cause and do a plug here before we talk about that main event. Let's take off the main display. PrizePicks, guys. PrizePicks.com. Parlays meets player props meets every sport possible, including cricket, but not limited to NBA and baseball and hockey and esports and the train. Even the train agrees that you guys should hop on the PrizePicks train and go sign up. If you sign up using code GUNDACKER, they're going to double your initial deposit up to $100. And if you do that, I'm going to make the deal even sweeter. I'm going to add some sugar to by giving you a free week of RunDFS.com VIP access. So if you sign up for PrizePicks, you toss a $10, $20 bill there. You turn that into $20, $40. You play some player props anyway. Like you can go ahead and win 10x a parlay if you went to a 4-leg parlay or something like that. And then you get a free week of spreadsheet access for not just MLB, but basketball. It's really just, you can't lose. You just can't, it's a win-win deal. So go check that out. If you sign up using code GUNDACKER, let me know. Twitter.com/GUNDACKER. DM me, say, hey, Gun, I signed up. Here's my name, and I'll know what to look for. So I'm not going to give you VIP instantly. Every morning they send me a sheet of people that have signed up using my code, and then when I can verify that the next morning, I'm like, bam, got you. And as long as you have your RunDFS.com username listed, I'll activate it for you. Also, if you're already a VIP member, we'll add another week to your subscription if you did the same as well. So it's a wonderful deal all the way around. Double your deposit up to $100. Play DFS. And then get free VIP. Like it's a great thing. So check that out. PrizePicks. Yay PrizePicks. Let's get back to the slate here. Also has Oakland #1 and Houston a distant 2 in ownership. Okay. Can I get this done in an hour, 2 hours later? Dang, it is already 1:30. Fudge. I gotta be on the air for NBA in like 30 minutes. I gotta update the NBA's first league. All right, so let's do it real fast. Reds at the Giants. Wade Miley taking on Aaron Sanchez. First things first. Rest in peace, Uncle Phil. I don't think I'm playing either pitcher here, but Wade Miley I can understand, but I also don't understand. Like, I'm not likely to play Wade Miley today. I do love the Giants as my Cinderella stack against left-handed pitchers. Austin Slater, Donovan Solano, Evan Longoria, Wilmer Flores, and then if you're into little rough sacks, Darren Roth has been on fire, but just know if you're playing Darren Roth, you're likely playing Darren Roth for like 2 at-bats, maybe 3 if you're lucky, but so far so good on his stretch. So you look at games that he has started, home run, and then after that it's a bunch of pinch hits. So he's going to be a pure platoon guy. You're not going to get the full game out of him, so understand when you're playing Darren Roth or if you're running your Giant stacks, maybe put a ceiling on Roth just in case. But outside of that, I do like these Giants against lefties. I mean, look at these batting average, 270 pluses, and then the power is there as well. Wade Miley against righties last year, a 342 average allowed, a 544 xFIP. The hard contact and home runs allowed wasn't crazy, but high walk rate, a high line drive rate, maybe I don't need homers. Maybe we can be like the Blue Jays the other night. Drop 15 runs without a bomb. And it'll add up. The Reds bullpen has also been a little bit suspect. Let's pull up TJ yesterday. Cam Bedrosian and Carson Fulmer, I guess probably 2 of their better names. I guess Sean Doolittle as well. But hey, you bring in these lefties, Amir Garrett, Doolittle. Maybe Darren Roth does get another at bat or 2. TJ Antone is probably their better option. Everyone else is like mad average. So I think this is a strong 9 innings of at bats for the Giants. No one's ever going to stack the Giants because it's an Oracle and they are the Giants. But I do like him as a Cinderella stack here. And then we're running it back here. Aaron Sanchez has just not been great for a long time, even in his Blue Jays days. A lot of hype on him, but just hasn't been coming to fruition. A 5.28 xFIP last year, a 5.15 xFIP last year. We look at his one start so far this season. Was it one? Did he make two? I think it was just one. 5 innings, 6 hits allowed, no homers. The ground ball rate was elite, 11-3 ground ball to fly ball ratio against the Padres. So Padres are a talented team. So maybe he is finding something there, but the strikeouts aren't there right now. So I don't play Aaron Sanchez. I do like Jesse Winker. If he returns to the lineup, he's hitting the ball, the cover off the ball. Castellanos a good start. Votto, Eugenio Suarez, Mike Moustakas. Like there's plenty of bats that'll play here. So this might be a contrarian take here as the number 1 pitcher's park in the league and on the slate. Why am I here? But I'm here. So I'm going to have some Giants exposure, some Reds exposure. Likely not going to play either pitcher. But if Oracle AT&T Park offers a solid SB2 game for a Wade Miley, I'm not stunned, but I'm really just not there, man. The metrics don't really put me there. And I don't know. Has Miley done anything crazy this year that I'm sleeping on? Did he pick up a new cutter or something? 6 innings, 2 hits allowed against the Pirates, 8-3 ground ball to fly ball ratio, a strikeout per inning, 27 DKP. Let's look. Let's flip his game log in case I'm sleeping on something. Let me find out Wade Miley's an ace. I know he went to Milwaukee and he just kept being a quality start guy. Let's go to game log. Check out that last game. Man, I don't know if I'm going to make the 2 p.m. start time for the NBA stream. I might have to push that back 10-15 minutes because I still got to update the spreadsheet. So if you guys are looking for NBA, kind of be cognitive of that. 284 xFIP in that game. And then let's go play discipline. Was he earning strikeouts? We're looking for over 10%, 13% swing strike rate. So okay. Pitch value. I got no pitch information here. Oh, pitch type, excuse me. 90 mile an hour fastball. Didn't barely throw that fastball, so he is throwing a cutter quite a bit. So that could be the secret sauce here. Let me see if that was the case or has been the case. Last year threw the cutter 50%. So cutter being his best pitch, basically his fastball, and then changeup at 30%. Last year changeup is at 25%. So cutter, changeup his best 2 pitches. So right, that might be a both sides of the fence thing. If you were interested in Miley, sure. What's crazy is like the Giants profile extremely well against the changeup. Slater, Yastrzemski, Solano, and then the cutter, Yastrzemski as well, and Darren Roth. No surprise there. So I still like the Cinderella stack Giants, but if you're down bad and you're looking for an SB2, up to 10%, I don't think you're out of your mind to try some Miley. But it's not something I'm running to. I would say I was probably a little too harsh on his walk rate because of the sample size. So maybe the average walk rate, strike throwing lefty, a lot of cutters jamming inside the bats. I could see it. 7K, again, almost a hitter, 14 to 18 fantasy points is what I'm wanting. Obviously, he has a little bit more upside than I'm giving him credit for. So yeah, if you play some Wade Miley, go for it. I might throw him in the back end of my player pool, right? 150 lineups on as a SB2. Could I get that little floor ceiling range of outcomes? Sure. All right, chat. Any lasting questions, comments, concerns? Throw them at me. Twitter.com/Gundeckers, where you guys can get at me. I'm supposed to be on the air in another 25 minutes for NBA. I'm probably going to need another 10-15 minutes to get my spreadsheet caught up. But if you guys got anything for me, Twitter.com is there. Let me try and get you counted in the chat here. Gun, are you trying to get that Legends pack today? I haven't decided. Do you guys think I should? Maybe I should. I don't know. I am eligible for it, so... Isn't that also in 25 minutes? Check that out. But the market's been so that I don't know if I'm gonna drop $1,000 on it. Giants Park back to a pitcher's park. Last year was a hitter's park. Don't be that quick to rule the Giants Park hitters. Like it was. I don't think it was ever a hitter's park, but no matter what, sample size is going to be low right now. I would always profile Oracle as a pitcher's park anyway. Like, even throughout the summer, it's going to be one of the lower 10th games, you know? Giants pitchers have been so good. Nope. They moved the walls in. Last year it was a good hitter's park, won a lot of money. I just think they were a solid team against lefties. And I like both these teams offensively today against average to below average pitching. So that's where I'm at on that. Chat, I got to get busy working on the basketball stuff. If you guys are working on basketball tonight as well, join me in another 20-30 minutes. I'll be back live with no voice. I would hopefully have a co-host to bail me out on some talking. But yeah, I love you guys. I appreciate you guys hanging out. I'll see you guys in a little bit. Good luck. God bless. Go win some money.